Hello and welcome to English for You. I'm Seb.
I'm Chickling.
And today we want you to picture something. Imagine you were convicted of a crime, but instead of a prison, you're sent away to a far-away place with very few people at the very end of the earth. You're going to be living with a family and some guards. What do you imagine that must be like? Chickling, do you have any kind of idea?
It would be very scary because I will start to miss my family very much and my friends back home. Yeah, I can imagine that. What about you?
Well, I must feel very far away from everything, you know. It's a faraway place, and even if you ran away, you're still hundreds of miles away. So obviously when we commit crimes now and we go to prison, we don't necessarily get sent to the end of the earth. But there was a place where this used to happen, and that was Iceland. A country right up in the northwest of Europe, basically almost in the Arctic Circle. Maybe it is in the Arctic Circle. Very, very far north. Very far north. It's called Iceland. So
exactly. Iceland.
So very cold. And in the 1800s, that is what they would do when someone committed a big crime. And our story today, today's story article, is all about that kind of situation. So let's get started.
Burial rites. The Kronsa family is not happy. They must host a guest at their remote Icelandic farm for the entire winter of 1829. But this is no ordinary guest. Agnes Magnusdóttir is a murderer. She's been sent to them to wait for her execution. Agnes arrives, and though the family doesn't like her, she helps around the farm. She's often visited by a priest, Reverend Toti. She's asked him to help her prepare for death. The pair grows close, and over time, Agnes tells Toti about her past. She was abandoned by her single mother, never had a stable home, and was abused frequently. One day, the local head of police asks Toti to give a report on how Agnes has been. The policeman is troubled by their relationship, so he tells Toti about her crime. Agnes had been living with a man named Nathan, but became jealous over him. Together with a neighbor, Friedrich, she killed Nathan and burned down his house. Toti does not understand how the policeman could be describing the same woman he knows.
Okay, so we have a bit of a challenging article for you today, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, because it's set in Iceland, and I don't speak any Icelandic. I don't know about you.
That means we're going to be pronouncing a lot of words today.
We're going to be trying our best. So, the article begins. The Kronsa family is not happy.
They must host a guest at their remote Icelandic farm for the entire winter of 1829.
Okay, so I see how this is connected to our introduction. They need to host someone at their remote house. Now, remote is an adjective, and when a place is remote, it is far away from towns and cities and doesn't have many people. So, for example, in the 1800s, Iceland was very, very remote. So the population was about 50,000-ish people, which you could fit in one district of Taipei, I think. Very, very small. In this big island, and there were 0 immigrants for a very long time as well. So basically, this very, very small population living far, far away from the rest of Europe, hundreds of miles from the rest of Europe. And it was very sparsely populated. And we use sparse, the adjective, or sparsely, to talk about when there are very few people and they're very far apart. So, for example, where would we say is sparse?
Like sparse 就是稀少 or sparsely populated 就是稀少的人口
So, like Australia, for example, we can say Australia is very sparsely populated. Okay, so let's look at an example sentence for remote now before we move on. Semangus in Hsinchu County is one of Taiwan's most remote villages. It is very difficult to get to. but it's actually a very popular tourist destination.
I haven't been there. OK, 我们来看一下 remote 就是一个形容词啊，它这边是当偏僻的、偏远的意思，所以很好记的就是遥控器 like 你远远的 you can use a remote like from a very far away place, so you can turn on your TV 就可以当成你的遥控器。那一般来说我们口语可以直接说 remote。好，那 it can also mean not friendly or showing little interest in other people，就是有一点冷淡的意思。譬如说 his manner was remote， 那代表这个人态度很高冷，尤其是对他不认识的人 like especially to people he doesn't really know.
So he was very distant, very distant. So next we're reading the article, but this is no ordinary guest. Agnes Magnusdottir is a murderer.
Okay. So they have a murderer in their home.
It's kind of a little bit creepy, you know, this house out in the middle of nowhere and a murderer comes to stay. It's definitely not very ordinary.
No.
Now, ordinary is an adjective, and when something is ordinary, it is normal or expected. So going to work on a Monday, eating breakfast, doing homework are all very ordinary things to do. We all do them all the time, or we've all at least done them a lot. So the article uses the phrase, this is no ordinary guest, though. And that is basically saying the opposite. When we're saying that something is we're talking about no ordinary something, we're saying that that thing is very strange or very different. So Agnes is not normal at all. So we could also say that something is out of the ordinary as well if it is very unusual or unexpected. Right, let's look at an example sentence now. Thomas works ordinary hours. He arrives at the office at 9 a.m. and leaves at 6 p.m.
OK, 所以 ordinary 就是普通的、一般的意思，是形容词。那也可以拿来形容不精致的。那么老师刚刚提到的 out of the ordinary 就是不寻常的意思，所以我们可以造一个句子哦。Nothing out of the ordinary happened during our trip. 代表我们的旅行没有发生什么很不寻常的事情。OK， 所以这一家人等接待的这个访客并不寻常哦，因为什么？因为他是一个 murderer. So what does it mean?
We're about to find out. Okay, so we saw this word murderer, which is a noun, and a murderer is a person that has killed another person, normally on purpose. We get the word murderer from murder, which is the act of killing another person. Murder can also be a verb too, so we could say that Agnes murdered someone. There are also some ways that we can modify murder to give it more detail. If we say that someone murdered another person in cold blood, that means they killed them without feeling any bad feelings or mercy. So a really, really bad person would murder someone in cold blood. There are other ways of using murder in colloquial English too. So when we say that something is murder, we mean that it is really, really annoying, frustrating, or difficult. We're not talking about killing people here. The traffic to work this morning was murder. Was murder. So we're saying there that the traffic was really slow, it was really annoying getting to work, it was murder. And we can also talk about murdering someone. And aside from meaning to kill someone, which is its normal meaning, when we murder someone, we get really angry at them. So, Mum is going to murder you when she finds out what you did. Now, here is our example sentence for murderer. The murderer was sent to prison for 40 years for his crimes.
好，那大家我们来看下一个单字 murderer， 这个字就是杀人犯的意思，或者是凶手。所以一个连续杀人犯，你就可以说 a serial murderer or a serial killer 也是可以的 ，killer 也是杀手的意思。好，那在这边呢 murder 是比较像是谋杀或者是凶杀。那你把后面的 er 拿掉，我们就是变成 murder 这一个字，它就是一个名词或者是一个动词。所以你用了什么工具把一个人杀掉了，你可以说 to murder somebody with something， 这是一个小小的
like a tool.
Right， 的小小片语。好，譬如说呢，我们也可以把 murder 当成弄糟的意思。譬如说 she totally murdered a song.
Ooh,
yeah,
have you ever murdered a song before?
Yeah, I think I did when I was very little.
Every time I sing, I murder a song.
Right， 所以一个人唱歌没有唱得很好，你就可以说 she murdered something， 然后后面加一个你没有做得很好的事情，所以这个访客没有寻常，因为他是一个杀人犯。但因为一般来说我们不会把杀人犯邀请来家里吧？不会。Will we? Yeah, we wouldn't invite a murderer to our home.
No, I don't think we would necessarily. Anyway, we want to find out why she's being sent there. And again, this is kind of connected to what we were talking about at the beginning of the article. She's been sent to them to wait for her execution. Wow, can you imagine what that's like? Going to an isolated farm and having to wait there for a whole winter.
And then you're going to die.
And you're going to die at the end. Wow.
It's sad. Okay.
So we have a clue about what our next word means, don't we? Execution.
Yeah, execution 是我们下一个单字，它其实就是处死刑的意思。那么它的动词是 execute。所以就是譬如说依法处决啊，处决某一个人就可以后面加一个人就好了。那么晚一点会再看到这个用法。所以这个杀人犯被送到这一家人，他就要等待他的死刑到来。And next the article says Agnes arrives, and though the family doesn't like her, she helps around the farm.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, maybe she feels like she needs to, do something for them to help them feel closer to her, or she just feels out of place, so she's trying to be helpful. Anyway, she's often visited by a priest, Reverend Toti. Now, priest is our next vocab word, and a priest is a holy man in the Christian religion. Priests normally run a church, that's a 教堂, and are normally the ones that give a mass, misa. They also marry people in weddings. So outside of Christianity, we often use different words for holy people in other religions. So for example, in Judaism, we have rabbi, that's just labi, right? It's the same kind of priest that you have in synagogues for Jews. There's imams, which is just imamu in Chinese, and that is kind of like a Muslim priest. And then obviously in Taiwan, you have Heshang as well.
Right, monks.
Yeah. So our example sentence for priest is Elena and Titus were married by a priest at their local church.
好，那我们来看一下 priest 这一个单字，这是牧师、神父的意思。
So the article continues, she's asked him to help her prepare for death. Okay.
Okay.
So actually I think that people would do this in the 19th century sometimes. If they were going to be on death row, that's what we call when you get the death sentence and you have to wait to die. Some people would get priests to come to kind of, calm them down or get them ready kind of for what was coming. So that's what Toti is doing in this story.
那下一句呢就说了 The pair grows close, and over time, Agnes tells Dodi about her past.
Okay, so we also saw the phrase over time, didn't we? So we use this phrase to mean that something happened eventually or after a while, often gradually, so 渐渐的. Here's another example. At first, Ben didn't like living in Paris, but over time, he came to like it. So eventually he liked it.
所以我们就知道说 over time 就是经过时间嘛，所以可能一开始你住那边，你逐渐的你就会习惯，开始喜欢这个地方。刚刚老师造的句子大概是这个意思。所以我们文章中呢说 Agnes 请了这名牧师来帮助他准备面临死亡，所以两个人逐渐变得比较熟啊。They got close。那我们就知道说他们可能越来越熟。我们用 close 这个字代表亲密，变得更熟。那么 Agnes 便告诉了牧师他的过去。
So we find out what her story was. She says she was abandoned by her single mother, never had a stable home, and was abused frequently. Okay, so she has quite a sad story behind her. And that word abandoned there, by the way, just means for someone to run away and leave you on your own. Yeah, so her mum left her, basically. Okay, so we also saw that afterwards she didn't have a stable home. Now that's an adjective, and when something is stable, it is reliable, so 可依赖的. So a stable home for Agnes would have been somewhere that she was looked after and well provided for. Not having a stable home meant that she had to keep moving around, nobody was looking after her, and she might have been homeless too. We can also use stable to mean that something like an item of furniture is well built and won't wobble or break. Now here's an example sentence using stable. After his first boyfriend, Tony never had another stable relationship. They just never worked out. That's so sad.
好，那我们来看一下 stable 这个单字，它是一个形容词，是稳定的。But stable can also be used as a noun, which means a building where horses are kept. 就是马上的意思。And we also see the word abandon, and we talked about it. To abandon somebody or something means to leave a person or a place or thing, usually forever. 那么当我们的中文的解释就可以说是抛弃或者是遗弃。And next is the word abuse. When you abuse somebody, you treat them violently or speak to them in a very rude way. 所以可以当成虐待的意思哦。那所以 Agnes 我们知道她过去很悲惨呢，她不但被她的单亲妈妈，我们可以说她的单亲妈妈遗弃她了，那她没有一个稳定的家，也常常受虐待。Okay, so she didn't have a very satisfying childhood.
No, she didn't. So things were very difficult for her, and then it seems that things turned around a little bit. One day, the local head of police asks Toti to give a report on how Agnes has been. Okay, so I jumped ahead there. We don't actually find out what happens next in Agnes's story. But Toti goes to visit the head of police, and they find out something from the other side of the story.
Okay, so next the article keeps on saying, the policeman is troubled by their relationship, so he tells Toti about her crime. Oh, okay.
Right, so I think the policeman thinks that Agnes is a dangerous person, and so he wants Toti to know, like, you shouldn't trust this girl. You shouldn't trust her. He says Agnes had been living with a man named Nathan, but had become jealous over him.
所以 had been living 是我们今天的文法重点。我们来比照一下，一个主词加上 had been doing something， 跟一个主词加上 had been 加上一个 past participle 的用法。那我们先看第一个 had been VING 这一个句型，所以这个句型其实就是过去完成进行时，指的是过去的某一个动作，在过去的某个时间结束，或者结束不久之前呢，曾持续的在进行。那我们再回去看一下课文哦。Agnes had been living with the man named Nathan, but became jealous over him. 所以我们就知道说，他过去有曾经一段时间都跟这个男生住在一起。那么如果我们今天改成 had been 加上一个过去分词，句型的的用法就会变成过去完成式的被动语态，强调在过去已经完成的动作和接受动作者。那行为者呢，通常都不是重点哦。我们再看另外一个句子。Many cars had been repaired by Brandon before he received his mechanic's license. 所以我们知道说这边的车子它不会自己被修理，所以它是被修理的，所以我们用 had been repaired. 好，那我们知道说呢 ，Agnes 以前呢一直和这一名叫做 Nathan 的人住在一起，不过她之后却感到非常的 jealous。那我们接下来换 Seb 老师给我们讲解一下 jealous 的意思。
Why do I have to explain jealous? Are you calling me a jealous person?
Oh, how did you know that? No, I'm just kidding.
What? Okay.
It's a vocabulary word. I like this word a lot because a lot of people are jealous of things.
A lot of people are jealous of things, especially jealous of me. Anyway.
I agree. I'm a little jealous of you. Okay.
Jealous
you can go on.
is an adjective. And when someone is jealous of another person, they are angry that that person is in love with someone else. So the article is saying is that Agnes was angry that she couldn't be in a relationship with Nathan, so she killed him. Or at least that's what the policeman says. We can also use jealous to mean envious as well. So it can either mean kind of like a romantic jealousy, like I can't be with her and so I hate her because she likes someone else. Or it can mean envious, like 羡慕, and that's just kind of saying that you're jealous that someone else has something or has done something that you haven't. So for example, Tony was jealous of Gordon because he was picked for the basketball team. Let's look at an example sentence of jealous as we saw it in the article though. Mira dumped her boyfriend because he was far too jealous of her when she hung out with her friends.
Okay. And then here we 老师刚刚讲那个 dump somebody 就是 to end a relationship with someone 就是去分手抛弃某人的意思。So have you ever had to deal with a jealous person before?
I don't think I've ever been in a relationship with a jealous person. But definitely some friends.
Yeah, but you're so talented. I agree why people are jealous of you because I'm one of them.
Wow.
OK， 我们来看一下 jealousy 所以 jealous 是嫉妒的意思，所以我们常常把这个字可以翻译成吃醋。老师刚刚有讲过。那么我们的文章中记得是 jealous over someone， 这其实不太一样。我们刚刚都是在讲 jealous of something or someone， 这个是嫉妒那个 那个人那个当事人。那么如果你用的 jealous over， 像我们文章中会比较像是，因为文章中的这个 Natan or Natan 这个人呢，他喜欢了另外一个人，这个等下我们在文章中会看到，所以女主角会变得说，好像有点嫉妒这件事情，并不是嫉妒那个当事人。那大家可以记一下 jealous 可以变成名词 ，you can simply add the letter y at the end of the word， 就变成名词了。比如说 her promotion at work made her the target of jealousy。OK， 她因为工作升迁呢，就被她变成被嫉妒的对象了。
Sounds like a very competitive office. Anyway, the story continues. Together with a neighbor, Friedrich, she killed Nathan and burned down his house.
OK， 所以 burn something down 就是去烧毁一件事情，对，所以这几栋所以我们在就知道说，她前面的这个女孩子呢，她把她的房子烧掉了，对不对 ？OK，so that means she killed him.
She did. She killed him and she destroyed his house. So Toti is confused. Toti does not understand how the policeman could be describing the same woman he knows, right? Because Agnes seems like she's had a very difficult past and she seems like a good person. So how could she be this crazy murderer? Okay, well, we will find out in day 2 because that's all the time we have for today's episode. But first, let's check out our For You Chat question.
For You Chat.
Okay, so I'll ask the For You Chat question today.
Okay.
So this is a little bit of a literary one. We're going to think about the story a bit here. Toti is upset because Agnes appears to be good, but she has also done a terrible thing. How would you feel toward her at this stage in the story? So, Chiquilin, how do you feel towards Agnes right now?
Well, because we haven't gone too far in the story yet. We've just read the beginning. So, well, I don't think it would be right for me to think that she is actually the one that committed a crime. Because maybe we'll find out something more in our article tomorrow. So, yeah, I don't think that she's a bad person for now. I don't want to put myself in that position because I don't think,
you don't want to be too judgmental.
Yeah,
But also, she could be kind of like a really, really clever criminal and, pretending to be really nice so that Toti takes pity on her. Maybe she can escape or something.
I try not to look at people that way.
Yeah. But it's the 19th century. We don't understand these people, So that she could be a nice person. She could also be a bad person. We've got these two very different stories.
I think we'll find out tomorrow, though.
We will probably find out tomorrow. So join us then when we'll be finding out more about Agnes, Toti, and all the other characters in this chilling story. For English for You, I'm Seb.
I'm Chickling.
And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Burial rites. The Kronsa family is not happy. They must host a guest at their remote Icelandic farm for the entire winter of 1829. But this is no ordinary guest. Agnes Magnusdóttir is a murderer. She's been sent to them to wait for her execution. Agnes arrives, and though the family doesn't like her, she helps around the farm. She's often visited by a priest, Reverend Toti. She's asked him to help her prepare for death. The pair grows close, and over time, Agnes tells Toti about her past. She was abandoned by her single mother, never had a stable home, and was abused frequently. One day, the local head of police asks Toti to give a report on how Agnes has been. The policeman is troubled by their relationship, so he tells Toti about her crime. Agnes had been living with a man named Nathan, but became jealous over him. Together with a neighbor, Friedrich, she killed Nathan and burned down his house. Toti does not understand how the policeman could be describing the same woman he knows.
Vocabulary Review. Remote. Caroline moved out of the city and went to live in a remote village in the mountains. Ordinary. Though it was just an ordinary day at school, Raymond felt like something wasn't right. Murderer. 2 days after the man was killed, his murderer was caught by police. Priest. The priest walked to the front of the church and started the prayer service. Stable. For a few months after college, Jonathan did some part-time jobs while he looked for stable work. Jealous. Greg became jealous when his wife started spending a lot of time with a male friend.
字汇小补帖
Execution. Abandon. Abuse.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作。活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net